Can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Oh, I unbound my F2 key. You still use the F2 key? Wow, I can't use it even if I want. I'm just so good. I micro so hard. Like, no, you don't. You don't, bro. Anyway, enough of that rant. It's something that really sets me off, though. Can you tell? Alright. Second game here. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, it is the red Protoss, Kryptikkz. With that epic intentional misspelling. Unless, like, you think he really thinks it's spelled this way? You know, obviously he doesn't, but just pretending. Like, let's pretend for a moment that this guy actually thinks, you know, this is how you spell Kryptikkz. He was like the worst elementary school student ever, failed every single spelling test. Was not allowed to compete in the mandatory spelling bee. Figure that one out. Not allowed to compete, and it was mandatory. He was just so bad. Anyway, in the top right-hand corner of the map, there isn't much to talk about in the opening. It is our blue Zerg, eXile, also known as Titan. Whoa, were you on a different clan for this game? Or is this a different server, or what? Forward hatchery this time, by the way. Last game in the ZvP, Titan took the Pocket Natural. Wait, right? Or am I crazy? No. Yeah, it was a Pocket Natural last game. Kryptikkz with a pretty straightforward scout. See what I did there? You know, nothing cryptic about it? Yeah, that's right. Nothing clever about that pun. It was actually really lame. But once again, there isn't too much to talk about in the early game. I see why casters just start talking about like other video games and stuff during the opening. Though it does also drive me crazy when they're talking about it while actual engagements are going on. At that point, you gotta rein it in. Talk about the actual game. So, speaking of which, we're about to get to that point where choices will be made. Tech paths will be explored. Cybernetics core about halfway done for the Protoss, and for Titan, speed is on the way. Oh dang! So I called out Titan for this clan tag. I'm wondering what it's all about because I know he's in lit, and we got Cloud, the clanmate, in the chat wondering the same thing now. All right, boys, fight it out. Warp Gate now being researched. You already know this is definitely not Florencio, right? As soon as that Warp Gate starts being researched. Looks like eXile / Titan wants to take his third base here. It's a very rebellious drone. He was probably told to go down here and either attack that probe or make the hatchery, and then something went horribly wrong and he came back to the top of the ramp and he's like, F this dog. I'm out. Speed about to complete. I think there are, what, 6 lings on the map? Yes, 6 lings on the map. So they're all right here, as a matter of fact. Natural expansion is finished for the Protoss. Whoa. Robo and Twilight Council both having gone down, which I missed on the production tab. But yeah, both having gone down, and I was just about to say, and neither one is active. Couple of extra gateways. This is actually quite standard here. Normally, with this amount of gateways and glaives and a couple of observers here, I would say that the Protoss wants to take a third base pretty soon. He should take a third base pretty soon, because you're not going to be able to put on much pressure with 3 gateways. You can harass with a warp prism, get some drone kills, but you should not be doing game-ending damage with only 3 gateways. So, like I said, to me, that indicates that that the Protoss wants to, or again, he should take a third base pretty soon here. Take a look at the worker count. We've got actually 32 for Kryptikkz and only 25. Or I'm sorry, okay, round of drones just completed. Up to 31 now for Titan. Observer's going to poke in here. See, actually quite a lot. He's going to see the double evolution chamber. Of course, he's going to see the forward base. And is he queued to see the third base? I believe so. Yeah, that drum, man, he was just chilling. And finally, he's like, all right, nobody's paying attention to my protest. I'm gonna get back to that mineral line, join my boys. They didn't even notice he was gone. That's when he realizes his life's worthless and meaningless. All right. Double Evos are complete. No upgrades being researched just yet. Kryptikkz actually has a really good idea of what's going on here. I think he scouted everything. I think he scouted literally everything. Yes. Every single structure has been seen by this observer. He can actually say he's seen it all. Nothing surprises him. I love when I do this, by the way. I love it. I do it almost every game. I usually catch it pretty quickly, but I do it every single game. I think that I send them to the 2 different gases, but I actually send all of them to 1. Good stuff. Rip that drone. Alright, so we do have 1-1 coming down, and interestingly enough, we've got 1-1 melee for eXile. A couple of Immortals being produced. The Protoss is actually floating quite a few minerals. Like I said, he should have taken that 3rd base a while ago. He's not going to get anything done off of 3 gateways. As I say that, he's adding more, but it's already pretty darn late to really do anything aggressive with a gateway army. eXile has been on 3 bases for quite some time now. Not yet saturated at the 3rd base, but definitely is capable of making a lot of units to hold a 2-base gateway push. So can't say that I agree with the additional gateways right now. Should definitely be... Oh my goodness. So yeah, he's going real heavy on 2 bases here. Robotics Bay. Double Forge, but still no 3rd base. He's like, I'll build everything, man. Just don't make me build a 3rd base. That's where I draw the line. Oh my goodness, I love this. Oh boy. I love this so much. The Proxy Spire. And you know what makes this even more beautiful? Is the fact that that observer, I think he's dead now. I believe he got picked off when this Overseer came back. Wait, did he? Did he? One of these queens had to get it, right? Alright, time to check the vision. Okay, yeah, he definitely was picked off. Not sure who killed him, but he was killed. But anyway, the beauty, as I was saying, is the fact that the Protoss thinks he has, like, the best scout ever. I don't think he saw... So he saw Lair. Did he see a Hydralisk? Did he see the Hydralisk den? Okay, no, or, yeah, Hydralisk den. I was about to say Hydralisk Cavern. Did he see the Hydralisk den? No, he did not. But still, he saw Lair. He saw the double evolution chambers. He definitely did not see a Spire anywhere in these 3 bases. So I don't think he would be expecting Spire tech. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Trying to ninja Spire. Heck yeah, man. I think this is going to work. This is such a beautiful move. I remember when I was in, like, I think I was in Platinum and my cousin was in Plat. I don't remember if he was Platinum or maybe we were both Gold. It was... Don't remember. So my first season ever, I was in Gold, and then right after that, I was in Platinum. But, so it was right around the time we both began. I didn't know much about the game. But I was telling my cousin, he plays Zerg, obviously. I was saying, you know, you should proxy your tech structures more often. Like, telling him to do it regularly. And I don't know if doing it regularly is a good call, because it will get scouted every now and then. But on a map like this, in this position, like, why would the Protoss go here? Well, there is no reason why. On this map, it's if you're Terran, then this is going to be a drop path for you. But Protoss, I mean, yeah, maybe he sends a warp prism over there. Maybe. But I think it's pretty unlikely. And he's certainly, you know, certainly not going to do it. I guess it's not going to be something that a Protoss does every game to send a warp prism, you know, past this path here. So definitely a cool move. Oh my goodness, the Lings rush in actually get hit by the Colossi there, but once again, the real problem is going to be these Mutalisks when they come out. What Prism was? I thought TVZ, not PVZ. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like I said, I would not recommend proxy tech for Zerg in ZvT. Of course, it also depends on the map, you know? You know, I guess like theoretically, you probably could proxy tech like up here or something. Most Terrans are not going to go all the way up here and all the way over here to drop. You know, most of the time we're going to do something like this here and then cut in. But yeah, against Protoss, aside from that Warp Prism, which once again, I think more often than not is going to take a path like this and not all the way around the edge. Yeah, I think against Protoss, you can definitely get away with it more. So I actually love this move, especially considering it went down shortly after Lair completed, too. Oh my goodness, these Mutalisks are all pooling up here. This is going to be nasty. We've got 20 Mutalisks against 5 Stalkers. That Colossus looks so weird. It actually looks like a Stalker to me on the production tab. I'm not sure if I'm the only one. Proxy Ghost Academies in TvP, yeah, that actually can work. In particular, TvP. I proxy factories all of the time in TvP. But yeah, this flock means business. This flock is not joking around. It's going to sweep in here. There actually is a Stargate, so while I was talking, I missed that, but it is not going to matter at all. This Ninja Proxy Mutalisk flock is going to come in here, wipe out the only possible counter. Those 5 Stalkers, is that what it was? Yeah, 5 Stalkers are going to cry all the way home. Except their home is going to be ravaged by the swarm. So, yeah, they're actually not going to be crying anywhere. They're just going to stand in place and cry. Yeah, this entire army, this gigantic, expensive army, can actually not fight this flock of Mutalisks. Dollar business. I was actually listening to Wu-Tang, I think it was on my way to the gym yesterday. The, what's it called, the song? Cream or the Cream, but yeah, the Dollar Bill Y'all song. Anyway, Stalkers try to push this away. And I understand Titan's slight reluctance to engage that head on, just because it can actually be quite tricky to focus fire the Stalkers down. And honestly, why engage this straight up when you can just come into the base and just start picking stuff off? And you know, as long as these Mutalisks are hovering around the Protoss's base, he's not going to move out. He's going to stay. He's going to stay here the entire time. If he moves out, he is. He's choosing, or I should say, irrevocably committing to a base trade. So yeah, the Protoss is going to do exactly this. Run around his own base, slam his head against his own wall, probably curse David Kim somewhere in there. It looks like now he is making that decision. He's reached that screw this moment. He does have 2/2 on his army, so they're pretty darn powerful, but the Lings do start working on the Immortals. The Banelings get in, don't get too much work done. But I know these Hydras, which are reasonably well upgraded, are going to do some work as well. And I think the Stalker count is actually, yeah, so it was significantly reduced there. And that's the biggest problem for Kryptikkz. There's really nothing to deal with these Mutalisks now. The Mutalisks are going to sweep back across the map as the Protoss Deathball marches into into eXile's base. More Stalkers have been warped in. But there are going to be reinforcements here shortly for eXile. The Lings looks like they come out and get an immediate surround along with the Queens firing from the back. The Mutalisks come in and start picking off the Stalkers immediately. Immortals doing what Immortals do best, that is kill things while seemingly not taking any damage. It's rather remarkable. But the Stalkers have gone down, and we return to the situation I was describing earlier. There's just nothing to take care of the proxy Mutalisks. I'm referring to them as proxy Mutalisks, yes, because they were born way out here. Or I should say, they were conceived. They were conceived out here. They were born. They were born within their own borders. but they were conceived in the far stretches of the map. And they end up pulling the game through. Once again, no GG is called. It was a GG indeed. Once again, well done. Original play there from Titan. I loved it.